What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with my comparison between the T-Mobile Revvl 5G and the Samsung Galaxy A51 5G. So let's get started. So this is the T-Mobile Revvl 5G, and this is the Samsung Galaxy A51 5G. Now, the Revvl 5G was launched about a month ago, and the A51 5G was launched in April of 2020. Now, as the name implies, the T-Mobile Revvl 5G is exclusive to T-Mobile and also is being offered by Metro by T-Mobile. And with the Galaxy A51 5G, this phone is being offered factory unlocked, and you can also get it from a variety of different carriers, including T-Mobile and Metro. But to see the most up-to-date pricing for these two devices, either go to your local carrier store or take a look at the links in the video description. Now with the Revvl 5G, we're getting a 6.53-inch display compared to a slightly smaller 6.5-inch display with the A51 5G. Now when holding the two phones up next to each other, the Revvl 5G is definitely the larger phone of the two, but that's partially due to it also having larger bezels. Now these two devices also feature different display technology. So with the Revvl 5G, we do have an IPS LCD display, which does look very nice. But with the Galaxy A51 5G, we have a Super AMOLED display. So with Super AMOLED, you are going to be getting much better viewing angles, better colors, and the display itself will be brighter. Now both displays do feature 1080p as the resolution. With the Revvl 5G, we're getting a PPI of 395 compared to a PPI of 405 with the A51. And then finally with the Revvl, we're getting an aspect ratio of 19.5:9 compared to 20:9 with the A51 5G. So we are getting a little bit of a more narrow but taller form factor here with the Samsung. Now with both of these devices, up top we do have hole punches for the front-facing cameras, and with the Revvl 5G, the hole punch is situated off to the upper left, whereas with the A51 5G, the hole punch is in the center. Now with the T-Mobile Revvl 5G, we do have a 16 megapixel front-facing camera compared to a 32 megapixel front-facing camera with the A51 5G. Now both phones do feature 128 gigabytes of internal storage, and we're also getting microSD card expansion. Now, neither of these two phones offer wireless charging, but they do both feature fingerprint sensors and face unlock. Now, with the Revvl 5G, the fingerprint sensor is located on the back of the device, so we'll give that a try right now. And that was a very fast fingerprint sensor. And then with the A51 5G, the fingerprint sensor is built into the display, and it also is pretty quick. So it really depends on your personal preference, whether you'd rather have your fingerprint sensor be on the back of the phone or built into the display. I know that having the in-display fingerprint sensor definitely is something that is a bit more modern, but then again, it's not like it's necessarily more convenient than having it on the rear. So again, it really comes down to your personal preference. Now also on the back of these two devices are the camera modules. So with the Revvl 5G, we have a 48 megapixel main camera, an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, and a 5 megapixel macro camera for close-up images. And with the A51 5G, we have a quad camera setup with a 48 megapixel main camera, a 12 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, a 5 megapixel depth sensing camera, and a 5 megapixel macro camera. So despite the A51 5G having that depth sensing camera, we also do get portrait mode with the Revvl 5G as well. So really technically from a feature standpoint, having the depth sensing camera with the A51 5G doesn't really give you any extra benefits compared to the Revvl. Now here's how things look with the main cameras on both devices. Then with both phones, we can switch over to the ultra wide angle cameras to fit a lot more content into the frame. It does seem like the ultra-wide camera with the A51 5G is wider though compared to what we're getting with the Revvl 5G. Then with both phones, you can go over to the More tab to access the macro cameras. And then again with the macro cameras, you can get very close up for nice detailed pictures. Now it does seem like the macro camera with the Revvl 5G is more versatile and does work out a little bit better. And then flipping over to the front-facing cameras on both phones, we do have a special feature with the A51 5G that does allow you to crop out a little bit for your selfies. So if you want to take a group selfie, you can fit more into the frame. But then with both phones, we can head over to portrait mode, and then get those nice blurred out backgrounds. So I know that many people are into this. I know that I personally do like to take front-facing selfies that do feature portrait mode. So if you are one of those people that also likes that feature, then you are going to be getting it here with both devices. Now, there are some pretty big differences when it comes to the processors with both phones. Now, one similarity is that they do both feature 6 gigabytes of RAM. But with the T-Mobile Revvl 5G, we have the Qualcomm Snapdragon 765, and then this variant of the Galaxy A51 5G features the Samsung Exynos 980 processor. That is the processor that you will get with the various carrier variants of the A51 5G, except from Verizon. And also, if you buy the A51 5G unlocked, you will get the Exynos 980 as well. Now, both phones do give you the ability to take video at 4K at 30 FPS, and both devices also feature very large 4,500 mAh internal batteries. Now, one difference though with the Revvl 5G, we do get support for reverse charging. So in theory, you could put a double-sided USB-C cable into this phone and then plug it into another phone, and then the battery in the Revvl 5G can actually charge other devices. So that definitely is pretty interesting. But now that we've gone over the specifications of these two devices, let's now compare the hardware. So I already talked quite a bit about the front panels here. I would say that in general, the A51 5G does have the more appealing and more modern design compared to the Revvl 5G. But on the other hand, I don't think the Revvl 5G is a bad looking phone. Now, the build quality with these two devices is a bit different. So with the Revvl 5G, it's all plastic, minus the display of course, which is glass. And with the Galaxy A51 5G, the display of course is glass as well. And we have a material called Glastic on the back, which is a plastic material that does look like glass. But then also with the A51 5G, we do have a metal band running around the sides of the phone. It certainly does make it feel a bit more premium. But taking a look at the left side with the Revvl 5G, we have just the slot for the microSD card and SIM card. And on the left of the Galaxy A51 5G, we have nothing. Then taking a look at the right side of both phones, we have the volume button and also the power button. Then up top on the two devices with the Revvl 5G, we have the 3.5mm headphone jack and microphone. And with the A51 5G, we have the microphone and we have the slot for the microSD card and SIM card. Then taking a look at the bottom of the two phones, with both devices, we have the microphone, speaker, and USB-C port. But then with the A51 5G, we do have the 3.5mm headphone jack. Now, I personally do prefer having the 3.5mm headphone jack on the bottom of the A51 compared to the top with the Revvl 5G. And then taking a look at the back of both devices, we have definitely some differences here and similarities. So we have the camera modules, and then with the Revvl 5G, we have the fingerprint sensor on the back. And then as far as the look and materials go, as I mentioned earlier with the A51 5G, we do have Glastic here, and it is very glossy, and it does pick up a lot of fingerprints. And the Revvl 5G does also pick up fingerprints, but we do have this really cool kind of gradient look to it with the T-Mobile Magenta. So I personally prefer the way that the Revvl 5G looks in the back compared to the A51 5G. Now, I did do a benchmark test with both devices, and here are the scores. Now, with the Revvl, I got a single core score of 624 and a multi-core score of 1944. And then with the A51 5G, I got a single core score of 489 and a multi-core score of 1816. So without a doubt, we are getting a faster processor with the Revvl 5G compared to the Samsung Galaxy A51 5G. Let's now do a speed test comparison between these two phones. So let's start by pulling up the camera apps on both. So 1, 2, 3, go. And it seems like it was about a tie with both devices. Let's now pull up Google Chrome on both phones. 1, 2, 3, go. And again, it looks like it was about a tie, which is pretty interesting. Let's now go to yahoo.com. 1, 2, 3, go. And it looks like the A51 5G was a little bit quicker at pulling up Yahoo. Let's now go to engadget.com. 1, 2, 3, go. And it looks like the Revvl 5G was quicker at pulling up Engadget. However, the ad did appear a little bit faster on the A51 5G. Now you can see in this side by side, this really does show you the differences in display quality, because you can see with the Revvl 5G, the display is a little bit darker overall. and that's partially due to the viewing angles being better with the A51 5G. But another difference as well is that more of the single frame does fit into the display on the A51 5G, as we're able to see less of the second image on the Revvl. Scrolling is smooth on both phones, so definitely not a problem there. So you're gonna have a good experience browsing the web on either of these two devices. Let's now go to this article. 1, 2, 3, go. And it looks like in this test, the A51 5G was first to pull up the article. However, the Revvl 5G was not too far behind. So definitely very interesting there. I mean, based on the internal specifications and also the benchmark score, I thought the Revvl 5G would be a lot faster in this test, but it seems like the A51 5G definitely did a good job catching up. And if anything, the A51 5G was a little bit faster. So I would say it's pretty much a tie. I personally have more confidence in the long-term reliability of the Snapdragon 765 compared to the Exynos 980, because Qualcomm does have a better track record than Exynos when it comes to creating processors with longevity, but I certainly don't think the Exynos 980 is bad. So in conclusion, which of these two devices is the better choice of the two? Well, I would say that both phones are good devices. Definitely with the A51 5G, I do prefer the display. So if you are someone that wants to use your phone for watching videos, for example, or browsing the web, or really doing anything that involves looking at your phone's screen, then I would say that the A51 5G does do a better job compared to the Revvl 5G. But on the other hand, the Revvl 5G is definitely a very capable device and has a lot here to offer. So I would say that it really comes down to the prices that you can get these two phones at. I believe that the A51 5G is usually quite a bit more expensive than the Revvl 5G. And one of the noteworthy things about the Revvl 5G is that it did launch with a $399 MSRP, making it one of the most affordable 5G phones that you can currently get. However, I know that they are constantly running different promotions, like buy one get one free, for example, with the A51 5G, that could give you different ways to save money. So again, it really comes down to the promotions being offered at your carrier, so I definitely recommend looking into both of these phones. But this is Kevin here. This is the T-Mobile Revvl 5G versus the Samsung Galaxy A51 5G. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, give it a thumbs up.